What's going on, y'all? Happy Sunday. It's the end of the work week for a lot of DJs out there. But I personally have one more night. Today is my quote unquote Friday. Um, but I just wanted to talk about my gig last night. Last night I was at We All Scream in downtown Las Vegas, one of the newest and largest square footage nightclubs in Vegas currently. And um, the beginning of the night was rough. Uh, we didn't have our usual setup in the booth. Usually it is a Pioneer S7 with two CDJ 2000s, but for whatever reason, because certain gear was in the shop, we had CDJ 3000s. Now, if you have followed me on social media, you know that I am not the biggest fan of 3000s just because the company that I work for, the nightlife company that I work for, has multiple pairs of 3000s, and the majority of them don't work correctly. Um, they've been to the shop plenty of times, just a reliability issue. Um, and I will say the last time I played on 3000s, it went fine, it went well, but last night it did not. um, my dominant side, which is left hand on the deck, right hand on the mixer, when I would try to bring a song in, I would let it go. It would be like a half second to a second delay before the song would go. And I didn't figure that part out until probably like my third or fourth song in, just because of the way that I was mixing. Sometimes I'll just hit the pads to hit a cue point to bring the song in and mix it in. But on my third or fourth song, I was trying to cut something in. It just fell completely off just because of that delay. And after that happened, um, I went back to the deck. I transitioned to the next song, then went back to the other deck, and just before that song was ready to transition out of, I was just testing it, and I noticed the issue. And yeah, it was just an issue. Um, I don't know what part of the hardware it was, part of the actual CDJ platter that was malfunctioning, but it was. And this was at probably 10:35 p.m. and that gig goes until 4:30 a.m. So as soon as I figured out, oh, this is wrong, next thing I did is I grabbed my phone, got on text message with the AV team, see if we had any other backup decks, and what would you know it, there were no spare decks available. Everything was out. Um, the other venues were using all of the other CDJs or whatever the case would be, and I was just stuck with what we had. And on Saturdays I play with Andy Uops, and his dominant hand is the opposite side, so he was playing fine. But unfortunately, my dominant side was impaired just because of the hardware issue. And um, now I had three options, right? I could either totally give up and say, screw this, I can't perform under these conditions, this is messed up. But I'm just, I don't want to say way too professional, but like, I care about the party first and foremost. And I tell everybody this. Any younger DJ or any DJ, like, you should always put the party first. So that's not an option. The second option is just deal with it and either hit the play pause button to bring the song in or hit the cue point to bring the song in on that side. And then the third option was try to play the set to the best of your ability, using the technology that you have in front of you, right? Where, okay, if I know that I have to scratch the next song in just because of the way I want to transition, that I'm going to instant double to the side that's broken so I free up the deck that I can actually use. And just kind of cross my hands and kind of make it feel like the dominant side and bring it in that way. It won't be 100% perfect, but at least it'll be a better representation of my DJing than if I would have just hit the cue point and just brought the song in. So for the majority of the night, that's what I decided to do. The more difficult path, but the path that would allow me to represent myself as a DJ to this crowd as best as possible. Now, I didn't get it right at all 100% of the time. The majority of the time, yes. But there's some transitions I missed by a little bit, and probably the crowd didn't notice, but I did, just because I know how natural it should feel. And I was definitely putting in more effort than a normal night where both decks are working. But at the end of the day, I was way more satisfied with myself, knowing that I did everything that I could to give the best performance for all the people that came out that night. Now, I will say, especially because it's getting cold in Vegas, it was low 40s. And if you've ever been to Vegas when it gets cold, it's a different kind of cold. It's a bone-chilling cold, like a dry cold. So for them to come out and the floor was packed, for an example, to get from the DJ booth to the bathroom, it took me 10 minutes fighting through the crowd just to get to the bathroom between my sets. And the people that have paid cover to get in, that are buying drinks at the bar, that are here to have a good time, like, they deserve the best performances possible. So even if it took more effort for me to do it, I made sure that that's exactly what I was going to do. And even if it wasn't perfect, it was still better that I did that than just trying to like do it halfway and not being as creative or not being the kind of DJ that I like to be. And for the most part, it went over well. You know, I missed a couple of things here and there, but by the end of the gig, I was way more satisfied with myself knowing that I tried, and I did it for the majority of the night. I did it to a level where the crowd wouldn't notice the difference. I got the kind of responses I wanted from the crowd, from different trick mixes or whatever. And I came away kind of, I want to say, proud of myself that I didn't give in to all the other two options that would have been easier, that would, in my opinion, would have been a cop-out. There was no way that I was just going to give up. You know, I could have. I've seen other bigger name DJs give up when the gear isn't exactly what they want. And no shade to them. If you've gotten to a higher position than I have, like you have, I can't speak on that. You know, like, especially in this game, if you are big enough to have a rider, where like an equipment rider, where these are all the things that you require to come play, and that's part of your contract, and something doesn't work correctly, you have the right to complain, and I can't knock that. But that's not the case for my residencies. You know, shout out to my AV team at Corner Bar. They do a fantastic job, and they have the hardest jobs in the world. I can't even count the number of properties they run at the same time, the amount of DJ booths, multiple DJ booths in the same venues, and it runs so well. And it's not their fault that, you know, gear breaks down when it gets used over time, and we just got dealt the cards that we were dealt last night, but me and Andy took care of it. We performed for the crowd. They enjoyed the hell out of our DJing, and, you know, because I didn't take the sucker way out and I worked through it and I figured out a way, I felt proud of myself. And also, that wouldn't be possible, kind of piggybacking off of my video yesterday about, you know, accepting technology. If I didn't understand what instant doubling was, if I didn't understand the hardware and the software that was in front of me, I probably couldn't have done what I did last night. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if you're in a position where, you know, you're at a gig and the difference between having a coherent and a coherent and positive set and a set that goes well compared to something where it just completely falls apart because of the gear, but there was another workaround. Like, wouldn't you just take that extra 10, 15, 20 minutes learning how to manipulate the hardware and software in your advantage to make sure that your set goes off well? I mean, in the in the case where people say that, oh, you're not DJing on vinyl, that's not real DJing. Like, what if one turntable goes out? What happens then? Does the party shut down at 10:30? No, the party keeps going because we have these options in front of us that allow us to provide music and provide a good time to these people that paid good money to be there to see you and enjoy your music. And that's exactly what I did last night. And I'm proud of myself. And every DJ, that should be proof to every DJ that's watching this, that take the time to learn the technology, because it's not the devil. It allows you to perform at a higher level and allows you to perform in conditions that a lot of times in the past wouldn't be possible. And it could separate you from being someone that's informed that could take over when another DJ doesn't know what's going on and doesn't know how to fix it. All learning this new age of digital DJing does is benefit you and make you more valuable to not only the venue, but the bookers, the people that pay the paychecks for us to play music. Just keep that in mind.